Hello and welcome back once again to After the Credits. So another movie at the Dollar Theater. Got to see finally Finding Dory. Yes, I'm playing catch up on all the movies I missed in the last couple months. So Finding Dory. What did I think of Finding Dory? It was alright. It was basically, if you like Finding Nemo, you'll probably like this one. It's along the same lines of everything. We start out seeing Dory as a little tiny fish, a little baby, and we understand that she has short-term memory issues. She can't remember things. Her parents are trying to find ways for her to remember stuff, like she remembers things better in song. She remembers things if she repeats them more often. So they just kind of like do all this stuff to try to get her to remember certain things, like how to find your way home if you get lost, things like that. So then we kind of cut to suddenly Dory's missing, or lost in the ocean, but we don't know how she got there. How she got lost, I should say. And we see her as a little baby fish swimming up to other fish like, hey, can you help me find my parents? I'm lost. And they say, well, where do you live? I don't know. I have short-term memory loss. So they're like, oh, sorry, hon. Not really much we can do, but, we'll try and help you. And then, they turn their back for a second. When they turn around, she's gone because she swam off because she forgot she was talking to somebody. So then she just keeps swimming up to all these fish, asking for help, and every time someone tries to help her, she kind of gets lost again. We jump to her being kind of a teenager, and then finally up to her being full adult Dory, still swimming up like, hey, can you help me? And by this point, she knows she was looking for something, but she can't remember what it was. And everyone's like, well, if we knew what you were looking for, we might be able to help you. But, she's like, oh, yeah. Unfortunately, I can't remember what it was. I just know I'm looking for something. Like, well, hopefully you find it. Good luck. And then it shows the part where she runs into Marlin. And then it kind of cuts to now, where she's living with Marlin and Nemo in there, and then Anemone, whatever you want to call it. And she wakes up out of a dream, and she remembers something, so she wants to tell Marlin about it. And she's like, hey, Marlin, and he's like, Dory, it's not time to get up yet, go back to sleep. She goes, oh, okay, and she turns around and goes back to sleep, and then she remembers it again, so she's like, wait, no, hey, Marlin, and he goes, Dory, I said go back to sleep. She goes, oh, okay, turns around and goes back to sleep, and she's like, hey, Marlin, and he goes, okay, we're up, let's get our day started, and swims off. Never stopping to listen, like, what is it, Dory, what's going on? I mean, she interrupted you 3 times, so obviously she had something to tell you, even though she kept forgetting. She kept remembering. So they go on a field trip with the Stingray teacher guy and the rest of the kids in the class, and one of the kids says, jogs something in Dory's memory. And she remembers back to being a little kid and remembers her parent. Oh, they were talking about something about parents, and then, or no, one of the kids was asking Dory, how do you remember certain things if you have short-term memory loss? And she goes, well, some things I just know, like I have to have a family because everyone has a family, right? And they were like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And then she goes, wait, what were we talking about? And Nemo says, parents. And she goes, oh, that's this class? Okay, well, when a mommy and a daddy love each other very much, and then the teacher comes back and says, whoa, 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 whoa. So there's a cute little joke there. It's delivered a lot better in the film than what I just did. So then, she starts having these memory flashbacks where she's like, wait, I lost my parents. That's what I was looking for a long time ago, but where did I lose them? Then they start talking about the undertow, because that's how she ended up getting lost, is she got stuck in the undertow, and it pulled her away, and then she couldn't find her way back. So the Stingray teacher's talking about beware of the undertow, and she's like, that struck her memory too, but as she was thinking about it, she got swept away by the undertow, so they find her later, and she's mumbling something, and then she wakes up, and Nemo asks her what it meant, what she was mumbling, and that shocked another memory. So she takes off swimming back to the drop-off, where Nemo first got captured by the boat in the first one, and Marlin tries to stop her. He's like, every time we come here, something bad happens, someone gets lost, whatever. And he's like, why can't you just let it go? You're here with us now, just be here with us. And she's like, don't you understand what it feels like to lose somebody? And he kind of looks over at Nemo, he goes, yeah, you're right, I do. He goes, okay, we'll help you find your parents. So they get in touch with the turtles and ride the current back over to California. And she goes through this whole process of having these memory flashes. Everything comes back. She ends up back to an area where she used to live and actually runs into Destiny the whale, who was her friend when she was little and who's the one who taught her how to speak whale. So then Destiny starts helping her, trying to figure out where her parents are. Eventually she makes her way back to where her parents are supposed to be, because she actually remembers more and more and more as time goes on. Like, she remembers her parents' name, she remembers like where she lives, she remembers how to get there. She eventually finds her way all the way back to her parents' house, and there's no one there. So she's talking to some of the other fish that are nearby, and they're like, well, no, all the fish of your type were taken away because they're going to be put in this exhibit at an aquarium. So she's like, okay, I got to get back to where I began so I can find my family before they end up at this exhibit. So she makes her way there, finds the rest of the fish that are like her, and she asks about her parents, and they're like, honey, they went looking for you a long time ago and they never came back. We assumed it's been a long time. We just assumed they were gone. So Dory's kind of upset because she thinks her parents are dead and kind of runs away, but not really. She's just kind of frustrated, and as the events go on, she gets separated from Marlin and Nemo again. And now she's in the ocean by herself, and when she's by herself is when she tends to forget. If she has someone around that she knows, it helps her remember things. So now that she's by herself, she's trying to remember things, and she's forgetting everything. She's forgetting that she sort of forgot Marlin and Nemo for a minute because they're not around. She's forgetting like what she was originally looking for, all that stuff. And she starts to just kind of go with her gut instinct. She's like, okay, over here I got this, over here I got this, I like this, so let me follow this path. And eventually it leads her to this little like house type of thing, and something seems familiar about it but not. So as she's exploring around, she's like, okay, there's nothing here, and she's kind of getting ready to leave, and as she turns around, there's two fish swimming towards her, and they kind of stop and look at her, and she's like, hi, I'm Dory. And they're like, Dory, and it's her mom and dad. Spoiler, by the way, she finds her mommy and daddy. They weren't dead after all. They got lost while going to look for her and decided to wait in one spot, hoping someday she would just magically show up and run into them and magically find her way home. As she's talking to them, she starts to remember things again. She remembers finding Nemo and Marlin and all that, and she's like, I gotta get back and find them. So they go back to try and find them, and there's a whole thing with that. So now she's finding them. She finally finds them. They all get back together and everything, and her parents come along with them back to their side of the ocean. So Nemo's back with the school kids and the stingray teacher. Dory's back living with Marlin and Nemo, and now her parents live in that same area. So now her whole family's together. And that's basically the movie. So Dory's memory is getting better now that she has family and friends and everything around, and she's starting to remember things. So that is it for Finding Dory. What would I give it as far as a star rating? 3.5. Like I said, it's similar to Finding Nemo. If you like Finding Nemo, there's a lot more going on with this story. So it's better than just a middle of the road, but at the same time, it's a lot of the same tropes, like the speaking whale and all that from the first one. They're like, oh, remember this joke, remember this joke, remember this joke, did we hit them all, type of thing. So it doesn't quite deserve a 4 for that. I think I'm maybe kind of getting burned out on the animated children's films type of thing. That's why I'm kind of giving everything lower ratings lately. But it's about a 3.5. If I wasn't so burned out on it, I'd probably give it a 4, because it was a solid movie. But like I said, it hits a lot of the same tropes as Finding Nemo, so I'm going to pull it down a little bit just for that. So it gets a 3.5 for me. So if you like Finding Nemo, check it out. You might like it, but it's a fun adventure in its own right, even if you've never seen Finding Nemo. But there is that whole aspect of how they met and Dory having the memory issue that you might be a little bit lost on if you haven't seen Finding Nemo. But I just told you about them, so now you're not lost. So would I recommend it? Like I said, yes, if you liked Finding Nemo, check it out. It's its own fun little story, but it does try and hit a lot of those same tropes. So that is it for this episode. Again, as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Links are down there in the description, up there as well. And until next time, as always, we will see you after the credits.